Welcome back to your quiet study space for confident English. We are going to freeze a high-pressure moment that most English learners rush through and regret later. Imagine you are standing in an empty apartment. The agent is staring at you, tapping their pen. You hear traffic outside. You want to ask about the noise, but your mind goes blank, so you just smile and say, "It is nice."
I once signed a 12-month lease for a flat with no heating because I was too embarrassed to ask the agent to clarify the utilities. I just nodded and signed.
Today, we learn 3 polite but firm scripts to check the money, the noise, and the contract before you sign.
That story is actually true, by the way. I spent a whole winter wearing 3 sweaters inside my apartment because I was too afraid to ask a simple question. I thought that asking questions would make me look difficult or like I didn't understand the language well.
That is a very common feeling, Mark. We often think that being a good English speaker means understanding everything instantly and never causing a problem. So when we are in a high-pressure situation like viewing an apartment, we tend to become passive. We nod, we smile, and we say yes, even when we are confused or worried.
Exactly. You feel the pressure of the agent waiting for you. Maybe there are other people waiting to see the flat. You feel like you are wasting their time if you stop to ask about the details. But the reality is, renting an apartment is a huge commitment. It is your home, and it is a lot of money.
And that is why today is so important. We are going to move you from being a passive listener to an active investigator. You do not need perfect grammar to do this. You just need a few specific pocket scripts. These are phrases you can keep in your pocket, ready to use when the pressure is on.
I love that idea, pocket scripts. So where do we start? What is the first thing that usually trips people up?
The first major hurdle is the money. But it is not just asking, how much is the rent? Everyone knows how to ask that. The real problem is knowing exactly what that number covers.
Right, because in many countries or even different cities, the rules change. Sometimes the price you see is just for the space. Sometimes it includes water or internet or tax. If you assume it includes everything, you might get a nasty surprise at the end of the month.
Exactly. So we need to perform the financial check. This is your way of clarifying the total cost without sounding like you cannot afford it. You are simply checking the facts.
I made the mistake of asking, is it expensive? Which is a terrible question because the agent will always say, no, it is a great value.
That is true. Expensive is subjective. We need to be objective. The key phrase here is, does the rent include utilities or are those separate?
Let's slow that down. Utilities. That is a great word. It covers electricity, gas, water, and sometimes internet. It groups all those boring bills into one clean word.
Yes, utilities. Let's practice the rhythm of that question. Listen to the melody. Does the rent include utilities? It goes up at the end because it is a question.
Does the rent include utilities?
And then the second part, or are those separate? This shows you know how the system works. You are giving them 2 options.
Or are those separate?
Let's put it together. I will say it, then I will leave a quiet space for you to say it out loud. Does the rent include utilities, or are those separate?
Does the rent include utilities, or are those separate?
Now, imagine the agent says, no, they are separate. This is where many people stop. They just say okay and move on. But you need to know how much extra that will be.
This is where I get nervous. I don't want to ask for their electricity bills. That feels personal.
You don't need to ask for their specific bills. You can ask for an estimate. Here's the phrase. Can you give me a rough estimate of the monthly costs?
A rough estimate. I like that. It means you are not asking for a precise penny-perfect number. You just want a general idea. It takes the pressure off the agent so they are more likely to answer.
Exactly. Rough here means approximate. A rough estimate.
Can you give me a rough estimate of the monthly costs?
Try saying that now. Imagine the agent just told you bills are extra. Ask them for the number. Can you give me a rough estimate of the monthly costs?
It is so much better than being surprised later. I remember finding out that my cheap apartment had electric heating that cost 3 times more than gas. If I had asked for a rough estimate, I would have known.
That leads us to the hidden fees. In some buildings, especially in big cities like New York or London, there are fees you might not expect. Maintenance fees, parking fees, or even a fee just to clean the hallway.
So how do we ask about those without listing every single possibility? Is there a parking fee? Is there a cleaning fee? Is there a door opening fee?
We use an open-ended question to catch everything. Are there any additional building fees I should be aware of?
That is very professional. I should be aware of. It sounds like you are a responsible tenant doing your due diligence.
It frames it as information you need to know, rather than you complaining about the price. Are there any additional building fees I should be aware of?
Let's try that one. It is a bit longer.
Listen closely to the stress. We stress additional and fees. Are there any additional building fees I should be aware of? Your turn.
Are there any additional building fees I should be aware of?
Perfect. So that is your financial check. You are not just asking the price, you are
Asking about utilities, estimates, and additional fees. You are building a complete picture of the cost. I feel safer already. But what about the apartment itself? Sometimes you walk in and it looks okay, but something feels off. Maybe it smells a bit damp or the windows look old.
This is the quality check, and this is the hardest part for polite people. We are taught that it is rude to criticize someone's property. If you walk into someone's home and say, "This window is broken," it sounds aggressive.
It does. It sounds like an accusation. You broke this window, or you are trying to rent me a bad apartment.
So we need to use the softener. This is a technique where we soften the observation so it sounds like a curious question, not a complaint.
A softener, like adding a pillow to a punch.
Exactly. Instead of stating a hard fact like, "The street is noisy," we use, "I noticed."
I noticed. That is subtle. It implies that maybe it is just my perception, not a universal fact.
Right. And then we follow it with a question about the solution. So let's look at the noise example. You are in the living room, you hear sirens and buses. Instead of saying, "It is too noisy," try this. "I noticed the street is quite busy. How is the soundproofing in the bedroom?"
Oh, that is brilliant. You acknowledge the problem, the busy street, but you immediately pivot to the solution, the soundproofing. You are asking if the apartment can handle the noise, not telling them to stop the traffic.
Precisely. You are testing the quality of the windows without attacking the location. "I noticed the street is quite busy. How is the soundproofing?"
Let's practice that, because noise is the #1 reason people move out of apartments.
Repeat after me. "I noticed the street is quite busy."
I notice the street is quite busy.
How is the soundproofing?
How is the soundproofing?
Now put it together. You are looking out the window at a bus stop. Turn to the agent and say it. "I noticed the street is quite busy. How is the soundproofing?"
What about things that are actually broken? Like, I once viewed a place where the shower had almost no water pressure. It was just a drip.
That is a classic issue. Again, do not say the shower is bad. Say, "I noticed the water pressure is a bit low."
A bit low. That is another softener. Even if it is terrible, saying a bit low makes you sound reasonable and calm.
And then the magic question. Would that be fixed before move-in?
That puts the ball in their court. You are creating a condition. You are saying, I might take this place, but only if this specific thing is resolved.
Exactly. You are assuming it is a mistake that they want to fix. You are giving them the benefit of the doubt. "I noticed the water pressure is a bit low. Would that be fixed before move-in?"
That is a powerful phrase. Would that be fixed before move-in? It applies to scratches on the wall, a broken blind, a stain on the carpet, anything.
Let's try it with a generic problem. Imagine you see a crack in the wall. "I noticed there is a crack here. Would that be fixed before move-in?"
I notice there is a crack here. Would that be fixed before move-in?
By using "would that be fixed," you are using the passive voice. You are focusing on the action, the fixing, not the person doing it. It removes the blame.
It feels much less confrontational. I can see myself saying that. When I was younger, I would just stare at the crack and worry about it, but never say a word.
And then you move in, and suddenly you are responsible for it, or you have to live with it. The quality check protects your peace of mind.
So we have checked the money, and we have checked the quality. What is left?
The contract, or what I call the exit clause.
Ah, the paperwork. This is where the legal English comes in and everyone gets scared.
It doesn't have to be scary, but you do need to protect your future self. Life happens. You might lose your job. You might need to move back to your home country, or you might just hate the apartment after 2 months.
And if you are locked into a 12-month contract with no way out, that is a very expensive problem.
Exactly. So we need to ask about flexibility. The key term here is a break clause.
A break clause? That sounds like breaking something.
In a way, it is. It is a clause in the contract that allows you to break the agreement early, usually after 6 months, without paying a huge penalty.
This is standard in places like the UK, right? But maybe not everywhere.
It depends, but you should always ask, is there a break clause in the contract?
It's a simple yes or no question. Is there a break clause in the contract?
Let's practice that.
You are sitting at the desk with the agent, maybe looking at a draft of the lease. Ask them, is there a break clause in the contract?
Is there a break clause in the contract?
If they say no, you can ask for one. You can say, would it be possible to include a
6-month break clause?
That is confident. Negotiating the contract terms.
Everything is negotiable. If you are a good tenant, they might say yes. Would it be possible to include a 6-month break clause?
Would it be possible to include a 6-month break clause?
Another important exit topic is guests or subletting. Maybe you want to go away for a month in the summer and let a friend stay in your room to pay the rent.
Or maybe you just want your parents to visit for 2 weeks. Some landlords are very strict about guests.
So we ask about the policy. This is a great professional word. What is the policy on guests? Or what is the policy on subletting?
What is the policy on? It sounds neutral. You are just asking for the rules.
Exactly. What is the policy on overnight guests?
What is the policy on overnight guests?
This saves you from that awkward knock on the door from a landlord complaining that your friend has stayed too long. You know the rules before you sign.
Before we move on to the big role play, I just want to say, this is exactly what I needed 5 years ago. Learning these phrases isn't just about vocabulary. It's about giving yourself permission to take up space.
That is such a beautiful way to put it, Mark. Taking up space. When you speak English with confidence, you are saying, my needs matter, my money matters, my comfort matters. And if you are enjoying this calm approach to building real-world confidence, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are building a library of these practical, life-saving guides, and we don't want you to miss the next one.
Absolutely. It's the kind of English you don't always get in textbooks, but it's the English you actually use.
Now, let's put this all together. We are going to run a simulation.
I love these. It's like a flight simulator, but for conversation.
I want you to close your eyes if you can. Imagine you are back in that apartment. The wooden floor is creaky, the walls are white. I am going to play the agent. I will be a little bit fast, maybe a little bit pushy.
And your job, listener, is to interrupt me, politely, and ask the questions we just learned.
I will set up the situation, and then I will pause. In that silence, you speak. Do not just think the answer. Say it out loud.
Ready? Let's do it.
Situation 1. You have just finished the tour. I am the agent standing by the door holding the keys. I say to you, so the rent is $2,000 a month, which is a steal for this area. Shall we start the paperwork? You need to check what is included in that price. Ready? Go. Did you say it? You could have said, does the rent include utilities or are those separate?
Or maybe you said, can you give me a rough estimate of the monthly costs?
Good. Let's keep going. I answer you. Oh, utilities are separate, of course. Standard for the city. Situation 2. You look at the window, you see a large construction site across the road. There are cranes and diggers. You are worried about the noise at 7 a.m. I say, it is a great view, lots of light coming in. You need to use the softener and ask about the noise. Go. How did that feel? Did you manage to say, I noticed there is a construction site nearby. How is the soundproofing?
Remember, do not say, the construction is loud. Say, I noticed.
Situation 3. You are happy with the flat. You are sitting down to talk about the lease, but you are not sure if you will be in this city next year. You need an escape route. I say, it is a standard 12-month agreement. Just sign here at the bottom. You need to stop me and ask about flexibility. Go. Did you ask, is there a break clause in the contract?
Or, would it be possible to include a 6-month break clause?
Well done. Take a deep breath. You just navigated a very difficult social situation in a second language.
And you didn't just smile and nod, you protected yourself.
That is the victory here. It is not about perfect pronunciation. It is about not signing a contract that hurts you.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is the softener. Using I noticed changes everything. It turns a complaint into an observation. I am going to use that in restaurants, hotels, everywhere.
It is a superpower phrase. I noticed this glass is chipped. I noticed the bill seems incorrect. It works everywhere.
And asking for a rough estimate, that is my second favorite. It stops me from being scared of the answer because I know it's just a guess.
Here is your challenge for this week. You might not be renting an apartment right now. That's okay. I want you to practice the financial check on something smaller.
Maybe a gym membership or a phone contract?
Exactly. If you are signing up for anything or even booking a hotel, ask, are there any additional fees I should be aware of?
Even if you think you know the answer, just ask it to practice the rhythm. Are there any additional fees I should be aware of?
And finally, take a screenshot of these phrases in your mind, or better yet, write them down in a note on your phone titled Apartment Hunting.
Because when you're in the room and the nerves hit, you don't want to be searching your memory. You want to look at your phone and just read the script.
It is not cheating, it is preparation.
You are doing great. Every time you ask a question instead of staying silent, you are building that muscle of confidence.
We believe in you. You have the tools now. Go out there and take up space.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye for now.